Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, I want to go over all the prospects that were formally interviewed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the NFL Combine. I know that this is, some old stuff, as this list was compiled by Pewter Report literally a month ago, but I still feel like it is important stuff to talk about as we approach the NFL Draft. Again, shout out to Pewter Report for compiling this list. Today we are doing the offensive line. Now, I make the distinction of formal interviews versus informal interviews. As you guys can see, everybody in bold were players that the Bucs formally interviewed, because we'd be here a very long time if I had to go over every single player the Bucs had a formal or informal interview with the offensive line at the Combine. But I will say the first thing to note here is that the Bucs, can you tell that they're really going to be interested in drafting interior offensive line in this upcoming draft? I think that this is a safe thing to say. Yes, they did add a couple of guys in free agency, but you still need a left guard. You still probably want to get an upgrade at center over Robert Hainsey, and the Bucs did some work. The first guy I want to talk about is Oregon center Jackson PowersJohnson, coming in at 6'3", 328 pounds. This is honestly not even just the top offensive line guy on a lot of Bucs fans' wish list, but in all basically accounts, the top prospect period on a lot of Bucs fans' wish lists, including media as well in there. And look, this is a guy that is just a beast, okay? He is just an absolute beast. He has played a lot of different positions throughout his time in college football. You take a look at here, by the way, he was the nation's top center in 2023. He was a first-team All-American, first-team All-Pac-12 Conference, started 13 games at center, and was a finalist for the nation's top offensive lineman award. Now, he gets comparisons to Quinn Miners, who I believe ended up going and playing for the Denver Broncos for a little bit, or the Minnesota Vikings. I can't remember. One of those two guys. But he's a beast. He really is. 30 reps on the bench press, an 8'8" broad jump, 32-inch vertical jump. It's understandable to see why a lot of Bucs fans want this guy. He reminds a lot of people of essentially next generation Ryan Jensen. He's graded out to be an eventual plus starter in the NFL. And if he is there, I really have not a lot of doubt that the Buccaneers would likely select him. Because yes, you do need an upgrade at center. And if you do get Jackson Powers-Johnson, you could move Robert Hainsey over to guard, take a look at what you could possibly do there, and it just improves your center game a lot. He's got a mean streak, he's got an attitude, a good attitude in my opinion, and is a guy that can just get after it. So it is 100% understandable as to why so many people want Jackson Powers-Johnson. Not surprising at all to see that he had a formal interview with the Bucs. The next guy is another guy who's high up on a lot of Bucs fans' wish lists. If the Bucs cannot get Jackson Powers-Johnson, this is pretty much the next guy a lot of people want. It's Graham Barton, center out of Duke, 6'5", 313 pounds, graded to become a good starter within 2 years. Was a first-team All-ACC in 2022, playing at left tackle. Was a first-team All-ACC in 2023. Started 9 games at left tackle, missed 4, and did not play in the bowl game win over Troy. Now, he gets comparisons to Cody Whitehair, and we've talked about this. The Bucs love drafting guys and moving them around along the offensive line. Cody Mock used to play guard, Cody Mock now plays guard. He played left tackle in college. You have, just a ton of different guys. That Luke Gedeke plays right tackle now in the NFL. He played right tackle in college, then he moved over to guard in the NFL, then he moved back over to right tackle. The Bucs love versatility in their offensive linemen, and Graham Barton is a guy that, especially with his build, grades out more to be a center, but is still a very capable offensive lineman. I believe he would be an upgrade at the center position and would be somebody that the Buccaneers would heavily be interested in the first round if they can't get a guy like Jackson Powers-Johnson. I would say it's more realistic to consider Graham Barton than JPJ at this point, but you never know. Both are very, very good prospects, and I think would be the Bucs starting center if selected in this draft. Next, you have Dominic Puny, who is a guard coming in out of Kansas, 6'5", 313 pounds, will eventually be an average starter, was the grade. Gets comparisons to Dan Feeney, and guard is still something the Bucs are interested in. That is without a shadow of a doubt. Again, you did sign some guys, but left guard is still a huge, huge question mark. So it's not surprising. Again, Dominic Puny is a guy who is expected to be taken in the earlier rounds. I imagine maybe round 2, round 3, something along those lines. Maybe even round 1, who knows? But keep an eye on him as well, as the Buccaneers still have a need at guard. You next have Jordan Morgan coming in. He played offensive tackle at Arizona, will eventually be a plus starter, 6'5", 311 pounds. And this is another guy who played a lot of left tackle in college. 2021, 11 games left tackle. 2022, 10 games left tackle. He did have a torn ACL in 2022, so that is notable as well. 2023, 12 games at left tackle, and got some good accolades, right? First team All Pac-12, honorable mention All Pac-12 conference in 2022. Also, I don't necessarily know if he's going to be a guy who will be there whenever the Buccaneers make their selection, but if they do, again, it definitely seems like a guy who he is listed as a tackle, but the Bucs would consider him at guard, in my opinion. Next, you have Talis Faga coming in here, Oregon State offensive tackle. This is a guy that I don't think is going to be there for the Bucs, but 6'6", 324 pounds, will become a good starter within 2 years. Gets comparisons to Taylor Decker. It's really interesting, right? Because he's been playing a lot of right tackle throughout his time in collegiate football. You do have Luke Gedeke there at right tackle as well. So it is just one of those interesting things where, you know, a couple of these guys are listed at offensive tackle, like Jordan Morgan, like Talis Faga. But you imagine the Buccaneers would consider them at guard unless they have some plan to, you know, maybe move Gedeke back to guard, or just don't trust Gedeke at tackle. But I doubt that. I just doubt that. I feel like these guys are going to be guys who would make that transition to guard. Next, you have Blake Fisher coming in out of Notre Dame, 6'6", 310 pounds. Is an interesting prospect, a really, really good prospect. As you guys can see, the Buccaneers have been looking at a lot of the top offensive line prospects. You take a look here, Troy Fautanu, offensive tackle out of Washington, 6'4", 317 pounds. You have Christian Hayes, guard out of Connecticut. You have Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. All of these guys are projected to be starters in the first year or two. You even have Cooper Beebe coming out of Kansas State, will eventually be a plus starter. Like, all of these guys are going to be guys that are going to be taken in the first 2 rounds, in my opinion. So the Bucs are certainly doing their research, and all of these guys I don't think would be bad selections. And the Bucs are doing their research on the top guard prospects and center prospects. In the case of JPJ, center. Graham Barton, center. Dominic Puny, guard. Jordan Morgan probably would convert to a guard. You have Talis Faga, probably going to convert to a guard. You have Blake Fisher, again, another guard convert. You have Troy Fautanu, another guy who would convert to guard. You have Christian Hayes. He's just listed as a guard. The Bucs have been doing a lot of research on interior offensive line, and I feel like that is a very good thing. I think that you really can't go wrong with any of these guys in the first round or two. In fact, if I was, you know, really of the mindset of, hey, we've really got to invest in this offensive line, I might spend my first and second round on the interior O-line, get a center and a guard. And maybe that will be what the Bucs end up doing. I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. But the Buccaneers have invested a lot in these guys. These are the names to keep a note of. I'm going to be saying a lot of the similar things, so we're not going to dive deep into the second half of these guys like Fisher, like Fautanu, Haynes, Guyton, Bebe or BB. You know, these are all just guys that, yeah, they all would be pretty good for the Bucs moving forward. I would say the top 2 names to keep an eye on, though, are PowersJohnson and Graham Barton, because those guys are probably going to be 2 guys that the Bucs are considering in round 1. But really, any of these guys, you could say round 1 or round 2, the Buccaneers take them. Wouldn't surprise me at all. But what do you guys think about all of these offensive line prospects? Let me know your thoughts and opinions. I'd love to hear them. Which guys do you like? Which guys do you not like? Let me know. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. As always, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.